Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Jess. Thrifting is my beach. Thanks for joining me. Today is a completely different video. It's not reseller related, it's mom life. If you've been following my channel, thank you. Today I am sharing my birth story of my fourth child that entered our world March 28th at 2:30 p.m. So this is my fourth child. I've never documented any of my birth stories before, and I decided to do it now for myself because over the years you tend to forget things, and this is our last child, so I want to remember it. I will tell you up front, it was the worst experience out of all 4 pregnancies because I had the flu at the same time that I was in labor, and I think that was the main culprit. So let's get started. So I had a due date of March 1st. It was a baby girl. She's all good, we're all healthy, but it was a rough first 3 days. So on the 27th, I had flu-like symptoms, but it was like mainly just indigestion, and that's also a sign that you're going into labor. And I believe the 25th, I went and had an OBGYN appointment, and the midwife stripped my membranes, which I've never had done. It's quite uncomfortable. I wouldn't recommend it. So I don't know if that was part of it, but I went into labor, or so I thought, on the 27th in the evening, putting the kids to bed at like 8 o'clock, and I noticed contractions. They were lasting over an hour. So I figured it was time because I'd been having pretty intense contractions a couple nights prior, and I thought it was time, and then they went away. So I thought it was time. My niece, Samantha, bless her, she came over, and right before she came over, my oldest, he is 7, got sick in his bed. Well, actually not in his bed, luckily, but it was everywhere. And so my husband cleaned it up while I'm having contractions. I give my son a quick shower, rinse him off. He's a total champ. I remember when I was his age, when I got sick, it was like terrible, and I cried and cried and cried, and he is just so calm with it. So anyways, he got sick, I think again, and got him all cleaned up, put him on in the living room with some blankets, got the trash can all set up, everything. And then my niece came over. We explained what's happening, and I think the baby's waking up. I will bring her over so you guys can see, because I know it's really what you care about. Anyways, fast forward, my son got sick again once we left. My niece, luckily, she knows what to do, so she cleaned that up. And not only was my oldest sick, but my youngest was sick too. She's 2.5, and she hasn't really had the flu since she was about a baby. And so she got sick in bed, and a couple times my niece cleaned it up again. My niece didn't really get sleep that night, as you can imagine, but luckily it was just a 24-hour flu. So with a 24-hour flu, I wasn't actually vomiting, but I never felt better. And we live an hour away from the hospital, so it's my 4th child, and everyone's like, oh, as soon as your contractions start, as long as they're over an hour, like, get here, because you just never know, right? And all my other previous pregnancies, my labor was pretty quick. I think my longest labor, like active labor, was like maybe 6 hours. And that was quite long, I thought. I know they can go on for 2 days or more. Share comments down below how long your labor was. So we get to the hospital, and it is 12:30. I'm going to share clips throughout the event that I sent to my family. So, hey everyone, of course, it's gonna be late at night. I'm on my way to the hospital. Of course, before we left, Clark had a puke. He must be sick. I don't know. He's gotten sick again with Samantha. So, anyways, I'll try to keep you posted. I'm assuming I'll be admitted because I'm pretty sure I'm in labor. I look like a hot mess, and part of it I'm drugged up, but it's the real raw version of myself. So I'm going to share those throughout my update, and it is 2 weeks after. It took me about 3 weeks. It took me about 4 days to kind of get in the habit of, or the routine with the youngest Emmie, which is her name, Emmie Belle. And so, again, I'm going to be jumping all over the place. So it is 12:30, I think 12 or 12:30, we get to the hospital, I'll check in. They say my blood pressure is elevated. I've never had any issues with my blood pressure. So I don't know if it's due to the discomfort I'm in, or if it's due to knowing that my kids are at home sick and I was worried. So I was dilated to a 4, which you have to go up to a 10 before you can push. So it's at a 4, which I've always been at a 4 when they admit me before and my labor goes on its own. So again, I'm still getting up and going to the bathroom, probably like every hour. It was not pleasant. And but again, they're like, oh, that's completely normal, you know, your body's just trying to clear itself out. And so I thinking, okay, like whatever. But they didn't tell me at the time. My temperature was 99 point something, and I run cold. Like I'm usually like 95, 96 degrees when I take my temperature. So I told them I felt like I had the flu. Like I felt sick, I felt hot. And so they decided, due to my elevated blood pressure and the fact that I'm an hour away, that they would admit me. So again, I was dilated to a 4, and that was at 12:30. So they sent me to a labor and delivery room. And this is at OSF St. Francis. It is, I think, number 6 rated hospital out of 200 and some hospitals in the state of Illinois. I've had all my kids there. I love it. They have a NICU unit as well. Great staff. I would travel an hour to have my baby there for sure again. So we go to the labor and delivery room. My husband is exhausted because, you know, it's the middle of the night. He hadn't even gotten any sleep yet. And so they, you know, come in, keep doing their checks. The baby's fine. I wanted that epidural. I wanted pain meds as soon as possible, because once I relax with the medication, my labor typically has progressed in the past. But the midwife said that she would like to hold off, because since I was still only a 4, that they said it could actually slow down the contractions, or slow down labor. So I decided to listen to, you know, to the midwife, and I tried to get some sleep. My husband got some sleep, but I checked the time again, and it was, like I've stated in the previous clip, 6 in the morning. They said I was like a 4, maybe 4.5. All right, everyone, it's 6:25 in the morning. Still no baby. Not go how I expected. Sam's at my house with the kids, and Clark and Ellie have the flu. They've puked several times, which is terrible. I feel awful. So I was admitted here. I had slightly high blood pressure, and that's like the reason they kept me, because my labor hasn't been progressing. I was at a 4 when I got here, and I'm at a 4.5. Anyways, just wanted to let you guys know. I just got some sleeping meds, so I'm like probably slurring my words, but I feel better. It did make me sick. So, the baby's fine. No issues there. So I'll let you guys know. I'm hanging in there. I can't have an epidural yet, obviously, because I'm not far enough along. And poor Sam is at home cleaning up puke and probably diarrhea, because I'm guessing my kids are pooping their pants. Yeah, bad timing for sure. I was devastated, because I had been at that point almost breathing through. Yeah, I was breathing through my contractions at that point. I believe I have a pretty high pain tolerance, and so the pain was probably like a 7. And at that point, I asked for medication to make me feel more comfortable, to help with the pain. And so at that point, I was what time was, okay, so I can't remember. I'll have to go back and post through the clips, times, and how far I was dilated. But once I had that medication, it took the edge off of the contractions, and I was able to relax and get some sleep. The video clip that I've shown My eyes are like half shut. I'm slurring my words, but it made me feel much more comfortable because, like I said, I hadn't slept. I had the flu. My energy level was like, I had no energy. I was kind of concerned how I was going to go into active labor and be able to push, feeling so tired. But I did get some sleep with that medication. And then I went and had an epidural. I think I was a 6 at that point. It's almost 11 o'clock. I got my epidural in. I finally progressed to a 6. And I feel much better. Much better, so. Anyways, that's it. I'm guessing once I've already lost fluid and stuff. So I'm guessing that baby in my epidural will make me relax. So I'm guessing the baby should be here for the next couple of hours. And it was like 11. I don't know. The clips of the real footage will tell you the time. So I asked for the epidural. He comes in probably within like 30 minutes. And I've had 2 other epidurals before and 1 natural birth. And it was the most painful epidural I've ever had because my contractions were so close together that it took longer because he obviously didn't want to poke me or work on me while I'm having contraction. And also, for some reason, I forget the term he called it, but there is a place in your spine that's really close to the needle, and it's like the funny bone nerve. And so what it can do is it can send the funny bone feeling like up your arm, down your leg, whatever. It happened to me twice, and it was the most painful thing I've experienced in my whole life. People, I guess, compare it to being electrocuted, and I like screamed out in pain. It was the worst ever. And that happened to me twice. It went all the way down my leg, down to my toes. The epidural did get placed, no complications. And probably in like 15-20 minutes, I no longer felt my contractions. I would say it was the perfect epidural, except for the part of putting it into my back. So it felt like it took forever for the epidural. But after that, again, I was able to relax, and there were no issues as far as, the baby was healthy, the heartbeat was good, high blood pressure. After I received the epidural, it was finally time to push at like probably 2:20 in the afternoon. So just remember, I got there at 12:30 in the morning with contractions close together and lasting, like a minute. And I had dealt with that this whole time. So with the flu. And they finally gave me Imodium for the nausea, but I will just say it was a mess. I had the best nurse. Her name was Becca. She was my labor and delivery nurse for the majority of the time I was in labor. And I felt like I knew her before. She actually had been with me for my last birth, but I don't really remember because I was induced and I must have been drugged up because I don't remember. But this time she was like my rock. Oh my gosh, she was so good. She was with me the whole way. She held on to my hands and stuff, like when I had the epidural, and just very calm and very reassuring. And so I guess one thing that was concerning to me was when they were right before they gave me the medication to help me relax, I asked for a birthing ball. I tried walking around, but they told me to try to conserve my energy. And so then I asked for the birthing ball, and I was bouncing on it, and I started leaking, and I was like, oh yes, like my water broke finally, because once my water breaks, things progress pretty quick. And I stood up, and like the nurse and some other staff come in, and I was actually bleeding. And at this point, I was not in active labor, what they called it. And I was kind of concerned. And they like weigh your blood to see how much you've lost as far as concerning. And it got to the point where with every contraction, I could feel myself leaking, and I was trying not to freak out, but I was. And the midwife considered consulting with a doctor. But to this day, we still don't know why I was bleeding, because nothing had ruptured. My water hadn't broke. We don't know what happened. but I never got a call with the results, so I'm guessing that's good news. So anyways, like I said, the epidural was super painful. It was like 220, and they kept telling me, they're like, when you feel pressure, let us know. And so about 220, I felt the pressure, which means that you should be fully dilated and it's time to push. So I let the staff know, and I had told them all prior that when I am ready to push, I hardly have to push. One time the doctor wasn't even there. The resident had to deliver the baby because apparently I'm like the best pusher ever. I don't know. And so they came in, they're like, yep, you're a 10. Let's get you ready to push. I'm like, okay. So they have all the staff come in. There's like 10 people in there, I swear. And the midwife barely gets her scrubs on and to catch the baby. I pushed twice. And at one point she told me to stop pushing. And Emmie was born. Again, her name is Emmie Belle. I picked the first name. My husband picked the second name. We did not come to an agreement with her name until I think a week before she was born, which is not like us. We typically have a name picked up pretty early. So yeah, she came out. She was healthy. There were no issues. I always do the immediate skin to skin with all my births, and so we do the immediate skin to skin. And she cries. What I liked is that I was not separated from her at all until, like, she never left my room. They do, I forget what it's called, but before, in previous pregnancies, they would take the baby to the nursery to have her like physical, and some people like have their child bathe, but I forget what they call it, but the baby never leaves the room. It was amazing. It was a great experience. I never felt rushed. We were in the labor and delivery room for an hour after Emmie was born, and so we did just constant skin to skin, and I was holding Emmie for probably like 10 to 15 minutes, and she was rooting, and I breastfed all my other children, and she latched immediately, and she nursed for like 45 minutes. We moved so then they weigh her, and to me she looked small. She looked like 7 pounds. But she was 19 3/4 inches long, which is the normal length for all my babies. But she was 7 pounds and 15 ounces, which is the same as my other daughter. So she was almost 8 pounds. I was the largest I'd ever been with all 4 pregnancies. I felt like ginormous, and I was exceptionally swollen. My only shoes that fit were Crocs. I couldn't fit into my maternity clothes anymore. I was wearing my husband's t-shirts. I was a mess. I couldn't wear any of my jewelry. Even my eyelids were a little swollen. So yeah, I was huge. So we go back to they like wheel me with Emmie in my arms, and I noticed that her eyes are shut, but the hallway lights are pretty bright, and I know she's not reacting to the lights. And I just thought, she's exhausted. She was just born. She's so tired. So we wheel into the postpartum floor, and the nurse is in there waiting, and she notices Emmie's color. I hadn't even noticed. She said that Emmie was like turning white, and so she hurriedly like unbundled her and was like rubbing her back really hard, trying to get Emmie to breathe regularly, because apparently she didn't want to breathe like she should have. And so that was a scare. Freaked me out. So again, she was born at 2:30 in the afternoon on the 28th. And so she had all of her shots and stuff, but they did them like on me. And I don't think she even reacted. She didn't even cry. She was just like a really chill baby. And since my husband had already stayed all night with me one night, and my niece had been up all night with the kids, they were all sick. My husband did go back technically the second night to stay with our children. And because I was still groggy and totally exhausted, and the fact that Emmie had issues breathing, which they said is normal the first couple hours after they're born. But because of that, and I'm totally a nervous mom, I had her sleep in the nursery, which I highly suggest while you sleep, and have them bring the baby when she's hungry or whatever. But obviously that's just my personal preference, but it is important for you to get your sleep, so you can be there for your baby and that so your body can recover. Here's Emmie's first picture. All right, everybody, I pushed twice and she came out. She's already nursing and opening her eyes. So that's Emmie Belle. She hasn't been weighed yet, so we don't know how big she is. But she's got dark brown hair. And she's very content. Say hello. She still needs to get cleaned up, but she's got both eyes open. Very alert. So I had that, and she came in, like every 3 hours, and she would nurse. I think I only had an issue with her being too sleepy once, which is great. Her latch has been amazing. I typically am like almost crying in pain by like the 3rd or 4th day, up to about 2 weeks postpartum. I haven't been there or gotten there yet. Today marks 2 weeks of her from her birth. So she's a champ. She's a great eater. I think she's only spit up a little bit twice. So overall, a great baby. She is so chill, so chill. So we just had her weighed and stuff, and she was 19 and 3/4 inches. And she's 7 pounds, 15 ounces, which is what Ellie was. And she's been nursing on me for like an hour. So, wink. She's all wrapped up. Good morning. I got some sleep last night. Not the greatest sleep, but Ellie slept in the nursery, so I could get some sleep. Or Ellie, see, I've already done it like 5 times. Emmie, you want to say good morning? She's doing well. A pediatrician came and looked over her. Said there were no concerns. She's nursing well, sleeping well. It was so crazy because like I changed her clothes and I changed her diaper. She didn't cry. Like all my other kids would have done that, so... we're hoping to leave today since she wasn't born until this afternoon. They can't do the tests till 24-hour mark, so we probably won't get home till supper time. But that's about it. I'm doing well. My blood pressure's fine. So, anyways, all right, we made it home. She's 8 and taking a nap. All the kids have held Emmie. Nana sat with the kids and watched Ellie today while Matt came back to pick me up. Now Matt's sick. Yeah, the nurse was in doing checks on the baby today. He's like barfing his brains out. He could barely drive us home. And now he's upstairs. Sick. So, fun. Good morning. I survived my first night with Ellie, or see, I did it again, Emmie. It took me probably half the night to figure out how she likes to be swaddled. So she was up for, I don't know, probably to almost 1, like not satisfied. But then she slept till, I don't know, like 3. And then she slept a stretch from like 3:30 to 6:45-ish. So that was nice. So I did get some sleep. And I have to go back to Peoria today for her 1-day checkup. So
anyways, Matt was able to stay in bed all night, except for once, I think, so hopefully he's feeling better. And hopefully Sherry's good to travel today, so yeah.
We were released from the hospital 24 hours after she was born. You have to wait 24 hours for them to do the physical and check the blood work. Everything was normal, so we got to leave. My husband came back the next morning, and so Nana came and was watching the kids. Actually, some of my kids were at school. She watched my youngest, and it takes a village, let me tell you, especially when you have 4 kids. A village. And so my husband came back mid-morning, and we were released at like 4. But prior to that, like after lunch, my husband's like, I don't feel very good. And he had been home with the sick kids, so I'm like, just our luck, he's gonna get sick. Yeah, he got sick. So first he said he felt nauseous, and that's exactly how it came on to me. I felt like I needed to get sick. And mind you, he didn't eat lunch. He'd only had breakfast that day. And again, the nurse had came in and was doing Emmie's checks and vitals and everything. And I told her, my husband didn't feel good. And I look over, and my husband is white as a ghost. Like, I don't think I've ever seen him that white. And luckily there's barf bags right there on the wall because he really needed it. And poor guy, but luckily the nurse was in there to cater to him. She went and got him a wet rag. She went and bought him a Gatorade in his favorite flavor. And so yeah, my husband was sick in the hospital, and he was supposed to drive us home. We live an hour away again. All our resources were tapped out as far as kids and babysitters, and they were sick. We didn't want to expose them to other people. Mind you, they did test me for COVID when you're admitted, and I was negative. So I figured it was the flu, plus face masks aren't required here anymore. And so everyone's immune systems are probably so weak that, of course, we're all going to be getting sick for probably like the next month. So I knew that it was just going to happen. So I offered a drive, even though technically you're not supposed to, because I felt fine. Again, it was a 24-hour flu, so they had me all hooked up to the IVs. I've been on fluids and all that, so I was fine. But my husband drove home. He did feel much better after he got sick. It was a long drive home for him, unfortunately. I could tell it was really hard for him. And so we got home, and Emmie was really good in the car. I guess if we came to a stop, she would start to fuss, but pretty normal with newborns and or babies. So we get home, and my husband is like still not feeling well. I'm trying to think if he got sick again. Yeah, I think he did. Did he? I don't know. He went like a whole day without eating, including myself, but I was in labor, so I couldn't eat. So he didn't eat for like a whole day. He was really sick, and felt good the next day, not 100%. But then Nana got sick. My niece got sick. My other niece possibly got sick because she's also our other babysitter. I think it stopped there. I hope it stopped there. But let me just tell you, this flu was highly contagious. It lasted 24 hours. And it did not make my labor fun or pleasant. But like I said, Emmie is amazing. She lets me sleep for 4 hours at a time overnight, which my others, I would wake up because, of course, like feed them every 2 to 3 hours. But Emmie has gained her birth weight back very quickly. As I said, she's a great nurser, and so we're all hunky-dory. Now, the first 3 days, I had little to no sleep to the point I almost felt like I was just gonna, I don't even know how to explain it, like just fall to the floor. They did say I have low iron, and my platelets were low or something. So they want to give me iron pills, which cause constipation. I took them once. I'm like, nope. And vitamin C. So I just make sure I eat an orange every day. And I still take my prenatals. It's hard for me to drink water. When I was pregnant, I could like drink water no problem. And now it's like a chore for me. I don't know why. It's just something has changed. But yeah, I'm going to go now get Emmie so you guys can see. I did post a picture earlier this week of her, and she will probably be in some of my videos in the future. But I will go back to my regular content. I may share a little bit more about my mommy life, and yesterday was daylight savings time, so we sprung forward, which of course, great timing, right? Not. This morning it was rough getting up with the kids, getting them ready for school. Like I said, I have 4 kids, so I have to get 2 on the bus, and luckily I was able to go back to bed for probably 15 minutes, which felt amazing. So anyways, I will come back and show you Emmie. I usually take my own newborn pictures because I'm cheap, and I take pictures for part of my job, so I think it's somewhat decent. I have yet to do that, and she is now 2 weeks old today, so I should probably hop to it. But let me go grab her so you can see how cute she is. Alright, so here is Emmie. I mean, you know how newborns are. You can just like look at your babies all day long. So she has blue eyes still, but all my kids have brown eyes, so I'm guessing her eyes will change in the next few months. She does have hair, not a lot of it, but she's got longer hair near the back of her neck, although I'm guessing she'll lose most of it. She's got very long fingers. She makes all the cute baby noises that I absolutely love. And she is so chill. So we always do delayed bathing, which simply means that we don't have the baby have a bath at the hospital. Some of you probably think it may be gross, but we actually hired a doula for our first birth. And when a baby is born, they're covered in what's that white stuff? I don't remember what it's called. Anyways, it's antibacterial, and it's actually good for them. So it makes sense to leave it on, and obviously they clean her up and rub it off so she's not like nasty. It doesn't smell gross or anything like that. But so she didn't have her first bath till probably she was home for a couple days because I was just trying to survive at that point. But she had her first bath, and she, like I said, she's so chill. When I change her diaper, I think she's cried once ever. So I went to give her a bath, and I laid a towel underneath her, and then I covered her with like a towel. And I haven't tried that before with babies, but I've been watching like reels or TikToks or something, and just been putting things in my brain, things to try. So I didn't give her like submerge her in water, obviously, because her umbilical cord is still not fully healed. But I wiped her down with like a wet washcloth and stuff. Sorry, I forget I'm holding her and you want to see her. She didn't even cry. Like, what child does that? So yes, she is amazing. My children absolutely love her. I will insert pictures of them holding her up in the corner for you. But like I said, my kids are 2, 4, and 7. And my 2-year-old has always been like the baby, and so we were kind of concerned with how she would do. And she actually is amazing. She knows to be gentle around Emmie, and she's held her. She likes to hold her, but she doesn't try to pick her up. She doesn't, try things when I'm not next to Emmie. So, and as you can see, she's wearing a vintage Carter's sleeper. You're gonna wake up? So she is sadly out of her newborn clothes already. I had to put those away a couple days ago. She's 0 to 3 months. As I'm guessing, she's over 8 pounds. Like I said, she gained her weight back really quick. So that is my birth story. I will probably share a life update and or vlog once we get more into a routine, she's pretty much in a routine already. Wakes up every 4 hours at night to eat. She does take a bottle. So with I do exclusively breastfeed, but with my other children, we didn't introduce a bottle in time or do it on a regular basis, and so they wouldn't take a bottle till they're about 10 months old. And so it made like going to the bins or going out of town pretty much not possible unless they came with me. And so this time around, I really wanted to push for a bottle. So probably after not even a week of her being born, she did have a bottle, and she has had, I think, 4 so far. And she does well. I'm hoping it continues so I can have some time away and not have her on my hip all the time, but I'm enjoying it while it lasts. I was prepared as far as having money put away, and I worked things out for my business so I can obviously not make as much money and not be working, obviously, but I'm enjoying it because I know the time goes by really fast. She's probably trying to poop. Are you going to open your eyes and say hello? Nope. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed my birth story. Sorry if it was TMI. Just real life. Alright, I will catch you on my next video and back to my regular content. Bye-bye.